at my house today. Come on inside and let's see what we can find. Well, we can't really get out to antique shops right now, so I've got a few things in my home I thought we could look at, and then I would like to issue a challenge to everyone, a thing I think we can do together in the last segment. So right now, let's take a look at some embroidered pieces that are usually pretty common to find in antique shops and usually pretty affordable. Here's one that we keep. We found this in a place down in Austin one time. It's this beautiful piece. It was older, obviously handmade. Beautiful little poem. I'll read it to you. The kiss of the sun for pardon, the song of the birds for mirth. One is nearer God's heart in a garden than any place else on earth. What a beautiful piece. This next one is another great one we found. It says Truth is Beauty. And this, I believe, is either this is cross stitch, I believe. I could be wrong. Do please delight in correcting me down in the comments. But also a lovely piece. This was fairly inexpensive. I don't remember what we paid for it, but these kind of things are plentiful and super charming. All right, this last piece is pretty important to me as it was made by my grandmother. This is a Needlepoint Portrait of Fdr. I love the variance of the color here on the cheeks, and even the way the thread size changes the feel of it, where you've got the bigger thread here in the hair and in the coat, and then the smaller thread to get the variance of tones. It's really marvelous. This would have been a pattern she probably picked up at a craft store of some kind, and she just decided to do one day to fill the time. Now, Fdr would have been her guy, having grown up during the Depression on a tobacco farm with a very large family. So it has that significance as well, and so it means a lot to me because my grandmother made it. Now, you can probably order patterns like this right now. The internet shipping is a little bit delayed due to the virus, so maybe you can find something online and improvise with what threads you've got available, or I have another option for you in the next segment. All right, let's talk about folk art. It expresses in a lot of different ways, and it goes by a few different names. Naive art, outsider art. The Wikipedia rabbit hole on this one is a lot of fun, so I highly recommend you read it, and why not? Because you've got nothing but time right now. So while we're all stuck together in our homes and experiencing something that's kind of tough, I thought it would be good for us to not only do some research about folk art, so that we can learn to appreciate it and maybe hunt for it if it resonates with us when it's time to get back out to the antique shops. But I thought we could also participate in it. So there are two different aspects of folk art I want to highlight of the many different aspects that there are. The first one is tramp art. Now, I was not consulted about the name for this category, but it is something beautiful all the same. It's a kind of chip carving, so it's all made with available wood, sometimes, a lot of times with wood from cigar boxes. As you'll do a Google image search of this and read up on it, and you'll see a pattern repeat. And so it's just kind of carving these small V notches out of the edge of a piece of wood, and eventually it creates a pattern, and then that kind of graduates. These kind of concentric boxes, and so they make beautiful ornate boxes, picture frames, all kinds of things on it, and it is very attainable, the technique. It can be done with a pocket knife, and then you can paint it afterwards, all kinds of crazy colors. That's something to research and try. You've probably got scrap wood, perhaps in your garage, or knocking around some closet or corner of your house. If not, you may have materials for this next thing I want to highlight. There's an artist named Bill Traylor, and his work is marvelous. He is, as a person, fascinating. And through his later years, he was selling pencils by the side of the road, and he started creating art with those materials. And he created it out of whatever packaging or cardboard he could get his hands on. And it was interesting doing research about him because I finally made a connection with a book I've had for years. The Vintage Book of African American Poetry. And right there on the cover is a piece of Bill Traylor art. And it's beautiful. His use of color and the way he did figures and forms and some of the commentary even that was in his pieces are beautiful. But the packaging he used, he did not always cut in this perfect square that he could then frame and that it would, where the material itself would kind of vanish to the artwork, it was left with a ragged edge very often, and you could tell that it was part of a piece of packaging. So I thought, surely, since we're all probably cleaning our houses, we're finding things like this. Old, tattered puzzle boxes and game boxes. So we've got the same kind of materials a lot of these beloved folk artists had, so why don't we use them right now together? And whatever you've got, there's no wrong answer to this. Just pick up something and make something beautiful with it, or make something gnarly with it. Perhaps something so gnarly that it is beautiful. Maybe they won't end up antiques, but I think it'll do us a lot of good along the way. So will you do that together with me? I'm gonna try it. You can send it in, try on Instagram, hashtagging Tiquing with Trotter, or tagging the Instagram account in your post, and I'll collect them and share them and credit everyone, and I think it could be a really cool thing.